Hi guys, and welcome to my backyard. If there's one thing that I would recommend for you to get for your bird that I think is life-changing for both you and your bird, it would have to be an outdoor aviary. Now I know that some of you guys might live in an area where it's not really practical to have an outdoor aviary, maybe because it gets super hot or super cold. Then even an indoor aviary is something that you should probably look into. But there's a lot of considerations that you should, I guess, consider when you're getting an aviary. So in this video, I'm going to show you my aviary and just some of the things that I've learned throughout the years to make this work. So let's go ahead and check it out. Alright, so this is it, guys. For those of you who have subscribed to me for a while now, you guys have seen that I've gone through several aviaries in the past. But this is an aviary that I recently got. And check it out, it's really, the pricing is really reasonable on this. I got this aviary for $580. And what I really recommend, the first thing I would recommend is, first of all, there's hexagonal aviaries, and then there are rectangular aviaries. Personally, using both, I like the rectangular ones better, just because it offers a lot more room inside for your bird. And the first thing I would say before you even set up an aviary is you got to think about the flooring. Now regarding the flooring, there are two ways that people generally go with the flooring. The first way is what I'm doing here. You can pour cement, but for me it was just easier since I'm not using like a really large space. I got these cement pavers, and these are only about $1 at the Home Depot. So it's really easy to install. What you would need is a tamper. So what I literally did is took me several hours, but I tamped down all the sand. And what I also did was, you gotta get paver sand. After you tamp it down, you gotta pour the paver sand on top, then tamp it down some more. This thing is really good at making sure that the whole ground is level. So once everything is level, I can then put the pavers back on. And then one last thing I did was I took another bag of paver sand. I poured it all over the top, and then I started sweeping so that the particles of sand would go inside the crevices, and that's what keeps the pavers from moving around, and that's what really kind of cements it in place. Now, I would tell you guys right ahead of time, when you guys get an outdoor aviary, there's a lot of different, I guess, materials that people use. This is powder coated wire, and it's good because it's non-toxic for birds. If you guys are using just, for example, wire mesh, there are two kinds of wire mesh that are pretty commonly sold. The first kind is called galvanized before welding, and the second kind is galvanized after welding. So the thing is, galvanized means that, well, first of all metal rusts, so over time the metal's gonna rust. So to prevent that from happening, they galvanize it, which means they coat it with zinc. So if it's zinc though, it's very toxic for birds. So what you guys got to consider is this. If it's galvanized before welding, what they do is let's imagine that this is just a piece of metal. That if it's galvanized before welding, it means that they're going to galvanize, they're going to coat the whole thing with zinc. Then they're going to weld the intersections together. Now the problem with that is that if it's galvanized before weld, when they weld the intersections together, the galvanizing could actually kind of flake off, and if your bird ingests that, it could be really dangerous for them. Galvanized after welding though is different. Galvanized after welding means that the whole thing is welded first. All the intersections are welded together, and then they coat it with zinc. So I know that there are a lot of breeders in Florida who only use galvanized after welding for the birds. They never had a problem. So if you guys are looking for material wise, galvanized after weld is something that I would say is safe to use. The downside to this aviary though is that at the very bottom, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it already started to rust around like these edges. Now the rusting isn't too bad, so I think I can pretty easily remove that with some maybe vinegar and a toothbrush, but that's not something that I really expected from this aviary. So if you guys are getting this aviary, just be very wary of that, is that This thing, I don't know how long it'll hold up to rust, but that's something to consider as well. Now, a couple more things about the outside of the aviary. I bought this separately, and I was going to keep one on the inside, which I might still do for Smokey to kind of perch on. But I've decided I'm going to keep one on the outside. That way I can keep potted plants that are safe, of course, on the outside. And that just, it makes it so that it looks a lot more natural for somebody looking in, but also for Smokey, it looks like a much more natural environment. Now the aviary also came with this hardware, and this hardware is for me to put a food bowl inside. But what I did was instead, I mounted this hardware to the outside of the aviary like that. So what I'm going to do to that is, I'm going to be just taking plants, and I'm going to put the potted plant right on the outside. That way, again, I like having the aviary kind of like being surrounded by plants, because it gives it a more natural and a more calming feel. Alright guys, so let's check out the inside of the aviary. I always recommend, whether or not you guys have an aviary or not, always get a lock for your cages. I actually almost had a bird stolen a while back, because that'll be a different story, so I'll save that for next time. But let's take a look at the inside. This is super bad. I wouldn't recommend you guys do this. When you get an aviary, try to get a safety catch. That way you can walk in, close the door behind you, and then open this one up. But I don't have one, so I'm just gonna carefully watch Smokey's body language, make sure that she's not gonna bolt outside. And then let's check out the inside. Go ahead and step in. Alright guys, so on the inside of the aviary, I kept this plant right in the center. And it's a fiddle leaf fig. So this actually came from well, it didn't come from West Africa, but it's native to West Africa. So I thought, you know, if I am gonna have this aviary, why not have a plant that's native to where the bird actually comes from? Now I am a little bit unsure about how long this is gonna last, because it's an indoor house plant. But you know, in California, the weather works out pretty nicely, so I think it'll work out eventually. But I'll let you guys know in a few more weeks. Second thing that I want to show you guys is the perch placement. If you guys take a look at it, this perch is kind of like, I guess, on this side of the aviary, and there's just enough room for her to comfortably and freely move around on this perch. Because there's plenty of room on here. And if you pan the camera around, he smokes. What? The other perch I have is all the way up here. So it's at a completely different height. And it's also at kind of like a corner. And the last perch I kept is going to be right here. And here's what you guys got to think about when you're setting up your aviary. The most important thing about perch is make sure that if you're going to keep a perch right here, you don't keep one right underneath. If you guys have birds, you kind of know what I mean. You keep one right here and you keep one underneath, the bottom one is going to catch a bunch of feces and it's going to get dirty over time. So all the perches are placed in a way where she can't poop at the one that's on the bottom. This keeps it super clean. Alright guys, so back to this plant. If you guys are planning on putting plants in your aviary, it's really important, first of all, to make sure that the plant is safe. You can do a Google search, and there's a lot of websites that will give you a list of plants that are safe and not safe. Now this plant, what I did was I placed this right in the center of the aviary. So this way, there is no way that Smokey can actually get a hold of this plant. When I first put it in, she actually already took a bite out of the top. But by putting it right in the center, no matter where she's perched, even if she's on the bars of the aviary, she can't get a hold of the plant. So this ensures that the plant actually survives in your aviary. Also, I know that if you guys just got like a new cage or a new aviary, it can get kind of tempting, and also you're really excited to put things in it. But I would recommend not overcrowding it with a bunch of toys or a bunch of perches. So even though this is a pretty big aviary, I only have 3 perches. And that maximizes the space that she can fly around in. Because after all, if you guys are going to crowd it with a bunch of perches, it defeats the purpose of having an aviary where they could potentially fly inside. So that's something else to consider. I almost forgot. I told you guys earlier about the pavers down at the bottom. Now what I really like about the pavers is that they're super easy to clean. Whenever they're dirty, literally all I do is you can either sweep it, or I just take a hose and it just hoses it completely down and it cleans up really well. The second thing, and I told you guys that there are two things people often use for the bottom, is you could use pavers and cement, or you could also use decomposed granite. And if I were to do this again, I might even consider that route. But the only thing you guys got to consider is if you're using decomposed granite, you got to lay a layer of wire mesh at the bottom, just so that no predators or rodents can bury underneath and get inside the aviary. Alright guys, so this aviary is still a work in progress, so there's still a lot of things I need to do. For example, the top, I need to get a roof for this, and I'm planning to do that probably within a week or two, so I'll make a follow-up to show you guys what I use. But you also want to make sure that your bird has access to shade all the time inside the aviary. What I really like is that by planting these trees, this one here, and just the way that I position my aviary, there's always shade inside. Right, Smokes? And that's really important for your bird. Come on. Smokey, give me a kiss. Good bird. Alright guys, so here's where I'm going to need your help. I'm planning on actually having several more plants, hopefully on the outside of the aviary. But if you guys do have any ideas about plants that maybe you've used for your birds in your aviary or around the cage, let me know some ideas, because that's I think that was the hardest part about this whole planning process, finding out what plants actually are hardy enough to survive outdoors without much maintenance, and also plants that are safe for birds. Alright, so the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys Smokey flying from perch to perch. Smokes, come. Good bird. What a good bird. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll try to make a follow-up video on the things that I mentioned. Remember, this aviary, even though I have a lot of it set up, it's still a big work in progress. So I'll continue to post the videos to let you guys know what changes I've made. But I can't guarantee you guys when those videos are going to come out, because I'll film it when I have time. So because of that, if you guys do enjoy this video and you guys want to see more updates, make sure you guys click that subscribe button right below. And again, it's free. And also that'll let you know, and especially if you guys have your phones with you, it'll let you know when I upload a new video, so you can make sure you don't miss out on any future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.